It doesn't happen. You leave everything here. That's what Jesus is telling this man. He's saying, what are you going to do with all those barns and everything you left? You're going to be gone. And what he's facing us is with understanding and realizing that the purpose of this life, even though we should aim at trying to do as much good as we can and correct as many things as we can, but let's face it, not everything is going to work perfect, ever. The purpose of this life is to be able to make it to the next. That's what Jesus is saying. I mean, that's plain and simple. How are you preparing for the next step? On your deathbed, what are you going to be thinking that you did in this life? What was this life about for you? Where did you find true value? And he's saying, it's not in external things, in your worldly possessions. Even if you're rich and famous and you have done everything you want, there's still something more. And he's not saying that's bad, but if that's where you place your emphasis in life, if that's what life is all about for you, then you're missing something. And you know, deep inside, we all have that. Because we all come from God. Whether we know it or not, or like it or not, we do have that origin. And when we were swimming in our mother's womb, you know, we were gods. And then early on, we learned differently. You know, as a child begins to grow, that's one of the first instincts of a child. You know, you've seen it. Those of you that have children and have to raise children, you know, at a certain age, they immediately say, this is mine. This is mine. And nobody else is going to touch it. And parents, they have to teach their children, you know, you can't be like that. You have to be able to share. What we're really saying is, you know, you need to realize that not all the value in life is in that thing that you have, in your toys or whatever, but somewhere along the line we lost that initial connection with God. That we come from God and we go back to God. And that's what Jesus is reminding us today. That's where true value should be. I love things related to medicine. I've always been like that. You know, people don't like to go to the doctor. I can't say that has been my experience. Actually, I feel pretty comfortable in a hospital. That's weird because most people don't, but that's the way I am. And I have many friends that have gone into medical school. I remember when I was in one of my parish assignments, the pastor didn't like to go to hospitals. So guess who did all the hospital visitation? The associate. So I was always going, and I felt fine. It was something that was natural. When I went to Rome to study, the first book, or one of the first books I read, was on bioethics, and I was captured. That's what I studied. That's what I liked. Even now, as I finished law school, my favorite classes and the favorite program was classes that had to do with healthcare and law, or bioethics and the law, and I love those. So it's a natural inclination. But you know, in every profession that we have, we can actually show that there is greater value than just what we have accomplished. And I was thinking several of my friends who have gone to medical school, you know, they really give God the priority. I have especially one friend that he played basketball with me, and you know, we were very close, and he went on to medical school, and now he has a good medical practice, and when his patients come in, one of the first things he does is to pray with them. And that's kind of strange. You know, I know our volleyball coach, he coached us, and he's gone, Jimmy is the doctor's name, he's gone to his clinic, and he was complaining to me. He was telling me, you know, I went to his clinic, and I get there, and I wanted him to check my heart, and the first thing he says is he wanted to pray with me. I didn't go to pray with him. I wanted to have my heart checked. And he was complaining about that. And that may be a legitimate point, because when you go to the doctor, you want to be taken care of, and he certainly did take care of him, but he was acknowledging that there was something greater than everything he did in med school, everything he studied, everything he labored for, that there's a greater reality. And that's incredible to see that from a doctor. I was listening to a doctor the other day giving a testimony. He was a heart surgeon, so he was operating some